Online.
Pauline Hansen's party planning as the PM hits back in the race debate. A huge drug bust on the Queensland coast and a green glow to Sydney's Olympic Village.
From National 9 News, this is Nightline with Peter Overton.
Good evening. Customs officers say they've smashed a major drug syndicate after arresting 14 people near Maryborough on the Queensland coast. They seized 8 tonnes of cannabis worth around $60 million. That was smuggled in aboard an American-registered yacht.
The sloop Highlander crept in under the cover of darkness. Those aboard were under aerial surveillance by Coast Watch for days. Infrared eyes watched 4 men on the yacht team up with 11 ashore to transfer 402 bags of cannabis resin to smaller boats bound for a coastal campsite. Police waited patiently as the goods were again moved, this time to a truck. It was on its way to the lucrative drug markets of the south just after midnight when the trap was sprung in the pine forest near Poona, about 40 kilometres south of Maryborough.
We appear to have taken out a full syndicate that's involved in bringing the stuff into the country.
More than 150 federal and state police and customs officers were in on the raid, which also recovered weapons and vehicles. Registered in the USA, the Highlander is likely to be forfeited to the Crown. There was a Hawaiian on board, also arrested a New Zealander, and 12 others with addresses mainly on the Sunshine Coast. Their ages ranged from 22 to 49 and included a father and son from Maroochydore. None of the defendants said anything as they sat handcuffed, daisy-chained in the dock. All were remanded in custody. Police were just packing up when they hit on another big find, 5,000 marijuana plants, not far away in a forest near Gympie. Warren Clark for Nightline.
A 17-year-old youth has been charged with murder following the death of a teenage girl in Sydney's west today. Police say a group of teens were holding an end-of-year party inside a Cabramatta house when a shot was fired, hitting the girl. The bullet passed through her arm and lodged in her chest. She died later at Liverpool Hospital. A man whose parents and brother were murdered and their bodies stuffed inside metal trunks has attacked the 28-year sentence given to their killer.
I think it's a joke. I hope they appeal it and I hope he gets never to be released.
The bodies of Walter and Thelma Dresler were found 3 years ago at a rubbish tip in central West New South Wales. Their 25-year-old son, John, was buried nearby. Sentencing George Marish, the judge said while retribution must loom large, the murders did not fall into the worst category. There's been a stark reminder of the dangers of used syringes, with 2 young children in Melbourne possibly pricked by a discarded needle. Their mothers now fear the children may have been infected by HIV and now face an agonising wait for pathology tests.
4-year-old Sean Wood was playing outside a Salvation Army depot with his 3-year-old friend Danielle while their mothers shopped inside. When they came out, Sean was holding a used hypodermic needle and had suffered a tiny pinprick on his thumb. It's uncertain if Danielle came in contact with the needle, but both mothers are angry syringes are left lying around by drug users.
It needs to be done behind closed doors. Shouldn't be done out on the streets for innocent children to put their lives in danger.
Both children have undergone tests, but it could take up to 3 months to determine if Sean or Danielle have contracted HIV. And there's concerns over another potentially fatal virus in the centre of Melbourne. Tests on a flying fox that died in the Botanic Gardens up to 12 months ago have proved positive for the rabies-like lyssavirus. It shows the disease exists outside Queensland, where it claimed the life of 39-year-old Patricia Paget. But health authorities say there's little danger for people walking through the gardens.
There's only a threat to people who come in direct contact with an infected bat and get bitten or scratched, and that should be a comparatively rare event.
Staff at the Botanic Gardens will be vaccinated, and 2 people in central Victoria have also been given the vaccine after being bitten by bats while clearing out a garden shed. Raymond Dale for Nightline.
After keeping the issue on the back burner in recent weeks, controversial independent MP Pauline Hansen today confirmed she is thinking of launching her own political party. Buoyed by support at a meeting on the Gold Coast, Ms Hansen said she'd address the idea in the new year. Prime Minister Howard, meanwhile, was again attempting to play down the way he's handled the race debate. Laurie Wilson has our report.
With federal parliament preparing to rise for Christmas, the Prime Minister was looking ahead to the new year, promising a renewed attack on unemployment, refusing to be stampeded on the Republic and hosing down speculation of a ministerial reshuffle.
I'm very well satisfied with the way my ministry has performed, and I don't have any plans for a reshuffle.
It was the race debate, though, which continued to dog the Prime Minister. In the wake of Social Justice Commissioner Mick Dodson's claims, the government had helped foster an atmosphere of racial hatred in Australia.
Look, he's entitled in a free society to say what he chooses, and I'm not going to overreact to that.
But the opposition says Mr Dodson's views should not be ignored.
Mick Dodson's always been extremely outspoken, but he does speak for a much wider current of feeling in the Aboriginal and indeed migrant communities.
That feeling was more than evident at an anti-racism rally.
Why is the Liberal government cutting migrant funding? Why is the government cutting funding to Aboriginal organisations?
Immigration Minister Phil Ruddock denied the government's immigration policy was discriminatory. As tempers boiled over, the focus switched to Pauline Hansen.
After 25 years of fighting to change the ignorance in this country, nothing has changed.
But while protesters were demonstrating against her in Canberra, on the Gold Coast, Miss Hansen was receiving a heroine's welcome.
And yes, Parliament is sitting, so please don't tell anyone that I'm here.
As they struggled through the year-end logjam of legislation back in Canberra, Pauline Hansen's parliamentary colleagues might not have thought that was such a laughing matter. Nor would they find it particularly humorous she may be about to establish her own political party.
Can I have a month's holiday first, please? Let me recoup. And I will address that next year after I have a bit of a break.
That suggestion only prompted another standing ovation. Laurie Wilson reporting for Nightline.
Labor leader Jeff Gallop says he can still win tomorrow's Western Australian election despite virtually conceding defeat earlier this week. Latest opinion polls have shown a swing back to Labor, and Premier Richard Court, who admits he's cautious by nature, says a hung parliament is a possibility. But most analysts are tipping the coalition will increase its 10-seat majority for a second term in government. The promise of a Green Games in the year 2000 is closer to fulfilment, with the announcement today that the Athletes' Village will be the world's largest solar-powered suburb. The Mirvac Consortium has won the right to build the $500 million complex, taxpayers footing just 10% of the bill. Michael Lusher has our report.
It isn't much to look at now, but come 2000, this disused ammunition store will be home to the world's elite athletes.
It's my pleasure to congratulate the Mirvac Village Industry Consortium.
It's taken almost a year to choose the winning builder.
Total cost of the project, $470 million.
The taxpayers' share is only $50 million. The complex will be enormous, creating its own suburb called Newington. More than 1,000 buildings will accommodate just over 15,000 athletes and officials.
The first time in modern Olympic history that all of the athletes will be housed in the one village.
Environmental ingenuity was a design priority.
It'll be the world's largest solar-powered suburb. 500
dwellings will be permanent, another 500 temporary, removed post-Olympics to make way for more permanent housing completed by 2005. An additional 470 houses will be built on site, making up stage one of construction completed by 1998. They'll be private residences not used during the Olympics, the general public living alongside athletes. Construction starts in 6 months. The Athletes' Village should be finished in January 2000. Michael Usher for Nightline.
After the break, the woman claiming she was pregnant to JFK, and as a mother and child are buried, Israel vows to expand controversial West Bank settlements.
Can the undefeated Aussies keep up their sparkling form? Find out when Australia take on Pakistan in Adelaide. Their first encounter of the summer. Coverage commences 10:20 Sunday live on 9.
The new Red Rooster marinated chicken. 20% bigger at no extra cost. Buy one now and get a second chicken for just $4.90. But hurry, offer ends Sunday.
This is the Pentium processor inside the PC that runs the CD-ROM that lets you plan a holiday by taking a virtual tour. And since it is a connected CD-ROM, it hooks to a related website through your PC's internet link. So you can go online to book a hotel. That's today's PC. That's the Intel Pentium processor.
Chrysler Jeep dealers are proud to announce their first ever sale. So be first in for first-rate deals, like the luxurious Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with standard air conditioning and twin airbags for just $49,990, drive away, no more to pay. Or the exciting new Chrysler Neon SE with standard air, automatic and twin airbags for only $24,880, drive away, no more to pay. These deals can't last, so hurry to your Chrysler Jeep dealer's first ever sale.
For the first time ever, all of Neil Diamond's greatest songs are on the deluxe 3-CD set, In My Lifetime. 71 original recordings, including 37 hit singles. Plus a deluxe book with notes by Neil Diamond himself. You'd expect to pay over $100, but this brilliant collection from Australia's most loved entertainer is only $69.95. Neil Diamond, In My Lifetime. It's the ultimate Christmas gift.
The new Red Rooster marinated chicken. 20% bigger at no extra cost. Buy one now and get a second chicken for just $4.90. But hurry, offer ends Sunday.
A 64-year-old grandmother is suing 6 Victorian police officers over a baton charge during a demonstration in Melbourne 3 years ago. Lorraine Johnson was in the front line of resistance when police moved to break up a protest against the closure of the Richmond Secondary College. She's seeking $200,000 damages, claiming ongoing suffering from injuries to her upper body and arms. It's expected other protesters will also take legal action. Foster's has ended its civil action against John Elliott, fellow former Elders executives Peter Scanlon, Ken Biggins and Ken Jarrett, and several other parties. The settlement ends 3 years of protracted proceedings relating to $66.5 million in allegedly sham foreign exchange deals. Foster says the terms of the settlement will remain confidential. Most people only ever get a payout from an insurance policy when something's gone wrong, but AMP policy holders, and there are nearly 2 million of them, could be in for a nice bonus if the insurance company goes ahead with plans to be listed on the stock exchange.
Some say it's an offer which is simply too good to be true.
AMP policyholders will find that they've got an investment that they didn't have previously.
AMP yesterday announced its planned foray into the share market. Next year it will ask its policyholders, all 2.3 million here and overseas, to take the plunge. There'll be an added incentive with the offer of free shares in the new company.
We think the case for change is so strong and so overwhelming that the membership will vote for demutualization.
The sums are still being calculated, but analysts predict the average allocation of shares could be worth more than $4,000.
There's a lot of guesswork in that, and of course an individual person could have far more or far less than the average.
The share bonus will be for members with life insurance, savings and superannuation policies. General insurance cover will not be included.
My advice would be to those policyholders, take your free shares, and if you can, hang on to them for the long term.
If all goes to plan, AMP will be listed towards the end of 1998, and with its market value estimated at close to $10 billion, it's destined to go straight into the top 10 list of companies. Damien Ryan for Nightline.
The woman and boy killed in yesterday's West Bank ambush were buried today. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu using the occasion to announce plans to expand and strengthen Jewish settlements in the occupied territories. In response, Palestinian leaders have accused Israel of using the killings as an excuse to abandon the peace process.
Grieving Jewish settlers gathered this afternoon at the graveside of the mother and child. They were buried amid declarations from Israeli right-wingers that the peace process is already effectively dead. Prime Minister Netanyahu was also there, emotional and defiant, telling mourners his response to the attack would be to further expand and strengthen Jewish settlements across the West Bank. The crisis was sparked when the gunmen, after setting fire to their car, fled into the Palestinian-controlled city of Ramallah. Many in Israel are now accusing Yasser Arafat of giving shelter to terrorists.
We expect the Palestinian Authority to live up to its commitments, to help us find these killers, to hand them over to us and to bring them to justice here.
Supporters of the militant Palestinian group, the PFLP, that carried out the ambush, were today parading in the West Bank. They are calling now for further attacks, saying that Jewish settlers are legitimate targets. This evening, Yasser Arafat refused to say whether he would order his police to track down the gunman. If he does that, Palestinians will accuse him of being Israel's puppet. Ramallah this evening remains sealed off and surrounded by Israeli forces. No one is being allowed in or out of the city. Robert Moore reporting for Nightline.
The eldest son of Iraqi President Saddam Hussein has been shot. Uday Hussein, head of the country's Trade and Information Ministries, was driving in one of Baghdad's fashionable areas when ambushed. Hussein is one of the most feared and hated men in Iraq. He's known to have personally killed some of his enemies and ordered the death of his brothers-in-law. Doctors say he should recover. The FBI is interviewing a Saudi Airlines crew which says it saw a flare-like object in the sky off New York near where TWA Flight 800 blew up in July. The sighting has resurrected the theory that the airliner was hit by a missile. Most investigators still believe it was a mechanical failure or a bomb in the luggage compartment. You couldn't fault the Dick family in Minnesota on their good taste. Designer suits, mink coats, fine crystal. Trouble was, dentist Gerald Dick and his family didn't pay for it, hiring a personal shoplifter to procure luxuries worth more than $250,000. But greed got the better of them. They refused to pay the shoplifter more than 10% of the retail price, and he turned them in to police. It's no secret that John F. Kennedy looked beyond the White House for romance. Now one woman has told how her relationship with the late president went way beyond a casual affair, claiming she became pregnant to him.
My relationship with Jack Kennedy.
Judith Campbell Exner stunned the nation 20 years ago when she said she'd had an extramarital romance with John F. Kennedy. This week she revealed an even more startling secret, saying President Kennedy made her pregnant during their last encounter at the White House in December 1962.
I called him. I told him, and he said, "Oh my God," he said, "what are you going to do?" And he caught himself immediately. And he said, "I'm sorry." He said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "There's only one thing can be done." He said, "Well, I want you to know," he said, "if you want to have the baby," he said, "you can have the baby." And I said, "That's impossible, Jack."
Exner says the president suggested they contact Chicago Mafia boss Sam Giancana, by then a good friend of hers, for help. She says Giancana arranged for her to see a doctor at Grant Hospital in Chicago in January 1963.
I checked into the hospital and was there 2 days.
And you had the abortion in the hospital? Which, of course, was illegal at the time.
Yes.
You're saying John F. Kennedy, President of the United States, made you pregnant, that you then had an abortion?
Yes. I'm not going to perjure myself, not for Jack Kennedy, not for the Kennedy family, not for this country.
In a moment, our Friday sports report, including the latest from the Coolum Golf Classic, an injured Monica Seles in doubt for the Australian Open, and tonight's cricket battle at the MCG.
Oh, sir, doubt not, but that angling is an art. Is it not an art to deceive a trout with an artificial fly? I I doubt not but to catch a brace or two tomorrow for a friend's breakfast. Doubt not, therefore, sir, but that angling is an art, and an art worth your learning.
It's a Sony!
Daewoo is having a sale, and a half. Get a family-sized 2-litre Aspero with power steering, power windows and CD player from just $20,000. The Daewoo sale and a half. Hurry before everything goes.